You know that feeling when you're in a high-end restaurant and the vibe is just flawless? The music is perfectly balanced, but you look up and literally cannot spot a single speaker anywhere.
Right, it's like the room itself is just generating the music.
Exactly. Well, welcome to a new deep dive. Today we are looking into the exact machinery that pulls off that auditory illusion. We're examining a product spec sheet available via HDTVSupply for the QSC AD-C-SAT-WH.
Quite a mouthful, but basically these are tiny 2.75-inch commercial ceiling satellite loudspeakers.
And the mission today is to decode how these nearly invisible speakers manage to deliver such high-quality audio. Because hiding good sound in plain sight requires surprisingly aggressive engineering.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're forcing a piece of hardware to move enough air to sound rich while keeping it physically small enough to just disappear into the drywall.
Which is wild, because when I see a tiny 2.75-inch paper cone woofer on a spec sheet, especially one with an inverted aluminum dome dust cap, my brain immediately thinks of like a cheap, scratchy drive-through speaker. How does this thing avoid sounding incredibly tinny and weak?
Well, the secret is actually in what it explicitly refuses to do. The specs show an operating frequency range of 120 hertz up to 20 kilohertz.
Okay, so it just completely ignores the low end.
Precisely. By strictly cutting off anything below 120 hertz, which is where the deep rumbling bass lives, the speaker prevents its tiny cone from overextending. It literally stops it from rattling itself to death.
Oh, wow. So because it isn't straining to produce massive bass waves, it can dedicate all its mechanical energy to keeping vocals and instruments crystal clear.
Right. And plus, it operates as a sealed system. Most inexpensive speakers are ported.
Meaning they have a hole to let air escape.
Yeah, which makes them louder but acoustically sloppier. A sealed enclosure traps the air inside, acting like a tight pneumatic spring against the speaker cone.
So it forces the sound to remain highly controlled, even when outputting 25 watts at 16 ohms. And that 16 ohm rating simply means the speaker resists electrical current just enough so you can daisy chain a bunch of them together on a low power amplifier, right?
Exactly, without losing any clarity. And we should also mention it's 170-degree conical coverage. It's explicitly engineered to act more like a floodlight for sound rather than a laser beam.
Meaning you don't have to sit directly under it to hear the melody. But wait, that brings us to the catch. Because we physically stripped the bass away to save the tiny satellite speaker, that heavy lifting has to go somewhere else.
Yeah, to the subwoofer. The spec sheet mentions these are part of the AcousticDesign Series line, which means any combination of these satellites can pair with any subwoofer in the series.
But if the bass is coming from a totally different box, hidden somewhere else in the ceiling, why doesn't the music sound completely disjointed to you?
Because it actually takes advantage of human biology. Low-frequency bass waves are omnidirectional. Our ears are terrible at pinpointing where deep bass comes from.
Oh, so your brain is essentially being tricked.
Basically, yeah. As long as these tiny satellites are delivering the highly directional highs and mids from above, your brain just believes the entire soundscape is originating from those tiny invisible grills.
That's fascinating. But even with psychoacoustic tricks, tuning a room with multiple satellites and a hidden subwoofer sounds like a nightmare. Like you're dealing with weird room shapes, echoes, different ceiling heights.
Well, that is where the software steps in. QSC uses something called intrinsic correction voicings through their QSYS platforms, like the CXDQ series amplifiers.
So it's not just a basic equalizer.
Not at all. The software automatically optimizes performance because it has the exact physical and acoustic profile of this specific speaker preloaded. It inherently knows the hardware's physical limitations and mathematically corrects the electrical signal to flatten out anomalies.
Before the sound even hits the speaker wire. It's almost like building a custom Lego set. You just snap together however many satellites and subs you need for a space, and the software makes them play nice.
Right, and it speeds up the plug-and-play installation process for audio professionals. The installer isn't balancing on a ladder for 3 hours trying to manually tune a tricky dining room.
They just wire it up using features like snap-fit magnetic grills and these locking two-pole Euroblock-style connectors, which, is just a fancy term for stripping a wire, screwing it into a little block, and plugging it straight in.
Exactly. It completely shifts the burden from the physical installation to the digital processing.
Okay, I get the software brain, but the physical brawn on this spec sheet really throws me off.
Yeah.
This is marketed as an indoor ceiling speaker, yet it boasts an IP34 rating for dust and water resistance.
And it operates in extreme temperatures, from -4 all the way up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right. Who is installing a ceiling speaker in a -4-degree room? Are people setting up background music in industrial meat lockers?
Well, it paints a funny picture, but commercial spaces are brutal environments. Think about a semi-open restaurant patio. It might be a humid 100 degrees in July and freezing in December.
Oh, true. Even industrial facilities or commercial kitchens subject gear to massive temperature swings and humidity.
Exactly. Delicate audio equipment needs military-like ruggedness to survive that. That IP34 rating means it's protected against condensation and splashing water.
Which makes perfect sense when you consider the scale. It retails for $248 a pair and comes with a 6-year warranty upon registration. A business needs a guarantee that a little humidity won't kill their investment.
It is the ultimate paradox. The more invisible the technology seems to you sitting in a cafe, the more aggressive the engineering had to be to put it there.
Yeah, so you now know the hidden mechanics above your head at a coffee shop. It takes a blend of rugged construction, wide 170-degree acoustics, and clever software to make background music sound perfectly unobtrusive.
Just silently doing the heavy lifting.
Which really leaves you with a provocative thought. If commercial software like QSYS intrinsic correction can automatically optimize the voice of a tiny passive speaker for any space.
How long until the standard speakers in our living rooms start autonomously tuning themselves to the exact shape of our furniture?
Exactly. Something to mull over the next time you hear a perfect track in a crowded room.